Good morning, everybody. Jason Grandin with the Grandin Group, Arizona's #1 brother and sister team. Hey, today, again, we've had some really great interviews, but I've got to tell you, when you get a chance to interview somebody from Scottsdale, Arizona, and Arizona all together, it's just absolutely fantastic. And so today we have Mr. Guy Phillips running for Scottsdale City Council. But again, that's not why we're here. I want you guys to get to know Guy. He is an absolute great guy. And the fact that you've been in Arizona, how many years have you been in Arizona?
Well, I'm 61, so 61.
61 years. You've seen a ton of changes. How did you get involved in Scottsdale politics compared to like other cities?
Well, I got involved in Scottsdale politics just because, I love Scottsdale, and when I moved here, I love the Western flavor, I love the tourism, the whole atmosphere, and I started seeing all those things going away, especially it was rawhide that got me started.
Oh, right over on Pinnacle Peak.
Yeah, when we lost rawhide, it was like, what is going on here? So I started getting more involved with that city hall.
No, so you've seen the growth, and growing up here as a native, I know we've run into each other, and my folks, we've had that ranch and stuff. What are some of the really big things that have changed that you don't like seeing, like rawhide leaving? Or what are some other things?
Well, don't like seeing. Obviously, you don't like seeing. You don't want to see Scottsdale turn into another Phoenix. And I grew up in Phoenix, and I liked it it was a small town. We were 36th Street in Thomas, and it was growing. And I didn't think that's enough. But you look at Scottsdale differently. It's a tourism resort town, and you don't want to see it become a big city like Phoenix.
Well, so as Scottsdale grows, which is inevitable, you don't want to necessarily see it turn into a cosmopolitan. Do you still like having the tag most western town?
Yes, it's harder and harder to hold on to that. I know Cave Creek, and it was actually Rodney Glassman was a city manager at the time, and he challenged us to say that they're really the best western town. And specifically, they are more western, than Scottsdale is. We've become the most urban western town. But we got to hang on to that. That's what we hang our hat on. That's why tourists come here. I still meet tourists that come here and go, where are the cowboys? Where are the Indians? Where's the, they want to see good fights and stuff like they used to do at rawhide. Unfortunately, we don't have that anymore.
Absolutely. Well, now Scottsdale is one place in the world that you can golf. You can bull ride in Cave Creek, and so you can still have that western flair with the cosmopolitan mix, I guess.
And even my son started bull riding in Cave Creek, and I go, what is the matter with you? Don't do that, but he loves it, so he does it.
It is. It's not a matter of when you get hurt, it's just a matter of how bad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So when you get reelected, which we know it's going to happen because you're great, you're very active. As far as real estate goes, how are you going to positively affect the real estate market in Scottsdale when you get reelected?
I've always, as far as real estate goes, and I used to have a general contractor's license. I used to build homes, so I got a realtor's license. So I know the school you got to go through and all that. It's a lot of learning, and it's a lot of ongoing learning. And then don't ever think that a realtor doesn't do anything, because I know you guys work hard. You got to put the signs out and the cookies and the plates, and sitting all day long waiting for one person to show up and eat your cookies and drinks and leave. So I know how rough it is. But as far as real estate goes, you have commercial real estate, which you want that to sell and stuff. But I'm really more into, I'd rather see houses being built in apartments. And so I push that more. I'd rather see neighborhoods.
Absolutely. And there's so much growth going on in Scottsdale. When you look at the overall plan, we actually met with the Herbergers, and they've been a big part of building Scottsdale. What do you see for the future of Scottsdale? What direction do you see?
Well, what's going to happen, like it or don't like it, is Scottsdale has 3,000 acres left of available land. Most of that is state trust land. State trust land is there for the specific purpose of selling for education to build on. And so that's going to happen. We're not going to stop it. This way it's going to be. Most of that's an area called Crossroads East, which is north and south of the 101 between Scottsdale and Hayden.
Sure.
And when Nationwide went up, a lot of people balked at that. They didn't want to see it happen. But that's what that's there for.
Sure.
Nationwide backs up to a freeway. On the east, it's a water treatment plant. So who else would build there?
No, absolutely.
So you like that. And most of the traffic, hopefully, will be on the freeway getting on and off to go to Nationwide instead of going into our arterials. So that's a good place for that, commercial development. And there's gonna be, hotels and apartments built all around that. It's gonna happen. In fact, at the council meeting, when we voted on it, I brought that up and I said, you're worried about Nationwide next to the freeway, but there's 3 parcels in front of it. That's what you should be worried about.
Right.
Because those are zoned for apartments. And if those go up to 13 stories, you won't even see Nationwide.
Right.
So.
And there's apartments going in just south of the freeway.
Yeah, so that's what you gotta watch. Yeah, and all the ones south of the freeway.
Absolutely.
And then you got Phoenix to the west of Scottsdale Road, which everybody thinks is Scottsdale, but it's Phoenix. And they build whatever they want.
Right.
You can't stop them. And also, on Scottsdale Road, north of the 101, where we did that 101 property up to 13 stories. On the west side, that's Phoenix, they have zoning up to 30 stories. So let's hope that they never build there.
Absolutely.
But they will eventually.
Absolutely. Well, so you would agree Scottsdale real estate is totally crazy. And we have a ton of winter visitors, except this year. We've lost a lot of them. What's your thoughts compared to the Airbnb, the balance between the Airbnbs and the hotels, which generate a lot of the tax dollars for Scottsdale?
Well, I love hotels, and I actually always vote for them because hotels are for tourists. And we get the bed tax, which is great for the city. So hotels are always good. The Airbnbs, STRs we call them, and the international STRs. I actually went down to the state and spoke on that when there was a bill being passed for Scottsdale to be able to regulate those. Because right now, they went to the legislature and made it virtually impossible for us to do anything about it. So what happens is, and I'm not talking about you that rents a house or me that rents another house and puts an Airbnb, and that's a way to make money. I'm talking about the international companies who don't live here, who don't know Arizona, it's a spot on the map, and they go into neighborhoods and they buy up homes for 10-20% more than the value. So now you can't buy a home because they're overpaying for that home.
Right.
And then it becomes a short-term rental. And so they're buying up whole neighborhoods. They're not around to see who's renting it. They don't care who's renting it. They don't care if they trash the neighborhoods. That's not about them. It's about profit. And we got to be able to regulate those.
No, absolutely. Well, and since you're a native here and you have a big AC company or nice sized family-owned AC company, yeah, and you still have that.
Yeah, it's not big anymore. It used to be big in the early 2000s, but since 9/11, I've scaled back, and I hurt myself last September, so kind of semi-retired.
Sure. Well, you have we'll say a front row seat to everything that's going on in the valley, which makes you ideal to be a spokesperson for Scottsdale.
You know what I love to tell people is that living in Scottsdale, when I go to do a job, you leave Scottsdale, and not to diss anybody, but you go into Phoenix or Peoria or Glenda or wherever you're going, it seems like it goes into black and white. And then at the end of the day, when you drive back into Scottsdale, you're going back into color. You have that feeling. You have that feeling.
Yep.
You just love to be here. You love to back in Scottsdale and feel good.
So over the course of us growing up and everything, events are a huge thing in Scottsdale. And Scottsdale hosts some of the world's biggest events: Barrett Jackson, Scottsdale Arabian Horse Show, Quarter Horse Show, Bike Week's now here. TPC, absolutely, which is Phoenix, though, right?
It's Phoenix, but it's in Scottsdale.
In Scottsdale, right, exactly. So it's the Phoenix Open, but it's really the Scottsdale Open. And you get the bed tax for it, correct? Or the city does.
Yeah.
So what would you like to see with the host committees to bring in more events? Or is that something that's kind of on your plate?
The most recent event is actually the polo championships. And that's been really good for Scottsdale. So, as events come in, I like to, endorse them, go for them. More events the better, in my opinion, because right now tourism pays 30% of our taxes.
Wow.
So why not let them pay 40%? Why not let them pay 50%?
Absolutely.
And so I want to nurture that. There are other people that see tourism isn't sustainable, and that businesses as more of a steady income. But you can argue that all day long, because there's a depression or like this COVID thing going on. Businesses are closed down, that tax revenue stops too.
Right.
So that's not true. And the more you make the events, the more you build them up. Canal convergence is a huge thing that brings more revenue to the city, and then we don't have to come to you and say, hey, we're going to raise your taxes.
Absolutely. So you can see Guy Phillips, and we'll get into that in a second. So let's get to know Guy. What do you like to do for fun?
Well, for fun, actually, I like to restore old cars. So I've done a lot of those, mostly muscle cars.
And Scottsdale is huge
Huge
for remodeling cars and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Do you go to the Indian Bend pavilions?
I have it occasionally a lot of times, yeah. I haven't in a couple of years. I had a 72 Torino that I restored, and I brought it there. Right now I have a 63 Thunderbird, it's about half ton. And I got a 70 Nova after that. So.
And now, and then, where's your favorite place to eat? And I know there's a ton of great restaurants in Scottsdale.
You know, can we shout out people?
Oh, absolutely.
Because, you know, my wife and I were breakfast people, so we love to go to Butterfield's, either one.
Absolutely.
It's the same owner, you know. And for breakfast, so I love that.
No, that is fantastic. Well, you know what? This has been absolutely fantastic. I hope you guys have learned quite a bit about Guy Phillips. Guy, give them your website and how they can reach out to you, maybe make a donation, and most importantly, get out and vote. You have to vet these people that are running. Guy's a great guy. I mean, I suggest calling him, emailing him. He's very receptive. And get out there and make sure you vote. Guy, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You know, if I can do another shameful plug, I wrote a book a couple years ago. I feel like it's coming to fruition, but if you really want to know my mindset, read the book. And it's called Of Courage and Character by Guy Phillips, and it's on Amazon and Kindle. And my campaign website is electguyphillips.com. And, you know,
This is relatively a thankless job. I mean, you do a lot of work, and you're never going to make 100% of the people happy.
You know what makes me the most happy? I mean, I think the Veterans Commission is probably my best accomplishment. But what really makes me happy and makes you feel like you're doing a good job and it's worth the job is when somebody comes to you with a problem and you're able to resolve it.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's such a good feeling because they'll, you know, send you an email. They're doing this to me. I can't get through. This isn't working. I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end. You go in there, you help them, you get through the red tape and the bureaucracy. You know, I could probably name a dozen of those. And you feel good when you're able to help people like that.
How many emails a day do you get with people just wanting something from you?
You know, it's not that a lot. It's, you know, 1 or 2 a week, really, that somebody has a specific problem that they're just dead-ended, they can't get any further. And I would encourage anybody, if you have that kind of a problem, you know, come to me because I feel like that's why I'm there. I'm the bridge between you and government.
Absolutely. And hey, one thing the Grandin Group's going to do here, we are going to buy a couple books from Guy Phillips, and maybe we can get you to autograph them.
Oh, awesome.
And then we'll do a little contest. You can check it out on our social media pages, and we're going to give a couple books away autographed, which is always great, so you can hang on to it. electguyphillips.com, running for Scottsdale City Council. We're only a few weeks out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this gets exciting.
it does. It does. Great guy. Check him out and stuff. Check out for the books. We'll get those up on the site as well. And Guy, thanks for coming down here and introducing yourself to everybody.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have a good one. I'm Jason Grandin with the Grandin Group, Arizona's #1 brother and sister team. We'll see you guys soon on the next show of The Lockbox.